Hi, this is David. I want to show you a project that I worked on that allows you to take a video, select scenes from that video, and encode those scenes and make them available to end users. The idea is that we are going to take a video, upload it to the cloud, and then encode it and allow it to be streamed so that users can view that video. And then once they can view that video, we'll create a web page that allows users to like the video. There's a lot of tools like YouTube that allow you to click like, but what we want to do is to like it at a particular time. So if I have a 2-hour video, somebody could say, I like this video and I especially like 15 minutes and 45 seconds. That's the point at which I really like. And then we want to take also the same video, we want to analyze it. And we could do things like pull out the scenes. So there's a bunch of scenes in the video. We want to say how many scenes are there and where does each scene begin and end. And we'll use that information in combination with the time that the user liked it to say, all right, if they liked it at 15 minutes and 20 seconds, well, 15 minutes is actually, and 20 seconds is actually scene number 7. And scene number 7 starts at 13 minutes and 45 seconds and it ends at 17 minutes and 22 seconds, something like that. So now we know when the scene starts and stops, so we'll say they didn't just like that time, they actually liked the scene in which that time was, and then we will encode just that scene and make that available because that's a scene that presumably people like. Now, we chose to use Azure Media Services for this. I actually have a video that I've uploaded. Let me show you that right now. That's here in this one, right here. And I chose this video. As I scroll through it, you can see that there are multiple scenes in here. It moves from scene to scene. So that's why I chose. This is for a charity event we did a long time ago. We can use Azure Media Service to do that. The way that Azure Media Services works, you can do it through the portal here. You can click on Add Job and create a new transform and a job based on that transform to encode the video or to analyze the video. Either one of these can be done through the portal, but we don't want to force the users to use the portal. We want to automate that process. So I also wrote this class library here, and it has a bunch of methods to abstract away what Azure Media Services does. I'm calling the Azure Media Services API to do things like create an asset and encode that asset and create a streaming endpoint for that asset. So all that stuff is in here, various public methods that allow you to work through that. And just to make it easier to work with this, I have also created a user interface where you can call each of these methods, and this is just a Blazor application that lets you work through that process that I showed you on that PowerPoint slide. So let me run this, and you'll see here's my Blazor application. I've already uploaded the video, and the very first thing I want to do is to encode that video, make it available. Now it takes a while to encode it. This video is about 20 minutes long, and so I do have it refreshing every 5 seconds to let you know that it's still processing. Eventually it'll get to the point where the job is complete, and we'll be able to create a streaming locator on that. But because it takes so long, I'll speed up the video at this point. And now we fast forwarded through this, and after 315 seconds the job is done. The next thing we need to do is to create a video streaming locator. So that'll take that encoding video and make it accessible to the public. And I've embedded an iframe down here that actually shows that it is accessible right here. We can just run this thing here and fast forward to wherever we want. Various scenes in here. And I've also created a user page right here where a user can look at this and view the video, and as they're viewing it they could say, you know what, I really like this part right here, right there at 5 minutes and 53 seconds. That's really important to me. So that scene, wherever that one is in, that's a scene that I want to see over and over again. And if enough users like that, then I'll take that 5 minute and 53 seconds right here, and I'll figure out what scene it is. And the way we have to know where the scenes are is we analyze the video. So I click on this to analyze the video. This will take a while, but I've got it refreshing every 5 seconds to let you know that it's still processing. And then I'll come back when this is done, and we'll take a look at it, because the output of this will include a lot of information, but among that information will be every scene, where it starts, what time it starts, and what time it stops. And the analysis is finished. This one took a while, 950 seconds, but it is done. And what happens after the analysis is that it looks at the video and it outputs a JSON file that contains all kinds of information, things like the captions, the faces, any people that it recognizes, the emotions in those faces, the sentiment in the words they're saying, all sorts of information, but also what we're concerned about in this case is the scenes. Each scene, when it starts and when it stops. And we want that because when the user liked it, they said they really like the scene that includes this bit at 5 minutes and 53 seconds. And so I wrote a program which will parse out that JSON, which is stored in blob storage, and figure out which one matches 5 minutes and 53 seconds, and that happens to be scene number 3, which starts at 2 minutes and 25 seconds and ends at 6 minutes and 8 seconds. You can see that 5:53 is between those two. I also wrote another program to parse out the entire JSON and just pull out the scene information. So there's scene 3 right there that we just talked about, but this one happens to have 10 different scenes. It's an 18-minute and 2-second video. But we're mostly concerned about this scene, the one scene 3 that starts here and ends here, and so we can encode this scene. This is really similar to the code that we use to encode the entire video, but we've added extra parameters to say we only want to encode the part that starts at 225 and ends at 608. And here this thing is processing. This won't take nearly as long as encoding the entire thing, but it will take a finite amount of time until it's done. These are all asynchronous jobs, so we have to keep querying it and calling a web service to determine what's the state of it. Right now it's processing and eventually be in the state of finished. Now it is done encoding that scene. It took 100 seconds, and the final step we need to do is to create a streaming locator, and this button calls that method right here. And now we have here, I've got an iframe which actually points to that streaming locator, and you can see this one is not the full video, it's just scene number, scene number 3, and goes from 225 to 608, so that should be about 3.5 minutes or so. And if I run that, you can see if I resize this, you can see it a little bit better. That it is 3 minutes and 43 seconds long, and it's just this one scene right here. So that's what we've done. We've done what we expected to do. And I'll show you a bit of the code here. This is code that simply calls the SDK. This particular one is, let's say, starting the streaming locator. And you can see that it uses this client object right here. And there's in the SDK, it has something called streaminglocators.createAsync, and we pass in these parameters, and that'll return that right here. So we have a lot of these things, so the client doesn't have to know about the SDK. We can abstract that away. And then the code for parsing out the JSON is in the analysis service, where I can call the analysis, but I can also read the JSON that comes out. Look at that JSON file stored in Azure blob storage, and I can look at that and pull that out there as a memory stream and then parse it out and figure out exactly where the scenes are. So that's the code. There it is in action. This is a work in progress. So this was a hack. We started out doing it for a week, and then I continued it the next week. There are a few things more that we can do. So, for example, right now everything is stored in memory. I show everything on the screen, and as it does one step, it knows where the analysis storage, for example, is located. Put that into a SQL Server database or a Cosmos DB database and persist it, and then we can start it and stop it at any time and it'll remember where things are. Or when an end user says, I like this step, maybe we want to keep track of that and say, what's the most popular scene that somebody likes? Things like that. Also, this user interface, it's nice for demos and it was nice for testing, but really what we want to do is have a workflow that will get triggered automatically, probably an Azure function, so that every time a video gets uploaded, it would kick off this process and already encode it, analyze it, and display somewhere a user interface the user can click like on. So that's what's next. If you have questions, let me know. Thanks. Bye.